Hello dear friends, welcome to the first lecture of machine design. In this lecture series, we are going to cover the entire syllabus of machine design from GATE and engineering services point of view. You might have seen my recent videos on strength of material where I covered the entire syllabus of strength of material. Go and watch the playlist. You'll find the lectures of all the topics of strength of materials, my friend. Just like that, here I am going to cover the entire syllabus of machine design one by one, from the very basic concept, from the zero concept till the hero concept. I will cover the entire syllabus of machine design from GATE and engineering services point of view. So please go and subscribe the channel if you have not subscribed till now, and press the bell icon so that you will get the notification whenever I am live, my friend. Okay. Now those of you who are watching me for the first time, let me introduce myself. My name is Aprup Rao, MTech from IIT Kharagpur, and my specialization was mechanical systems design. Then I was recruited by Mahindra and Mahindra. I worked in Mahindra Research Valley for 2 years, which is the research and development center of Mahindra and Mahindra automobile and tractor division. I was in automobile division, so my work was to make stress analysis, vibrational analysis on the body parts of cars. Okay, so I used to apply load online on softwares. I used to apply load and I used to see where the stresses are more than the allowable value and how to reduce those stresses. So basically my work was related to the design of the body part of an automobile. But I always had a passion for teaching. So after 2 years, I quit my job and I started teaching. So I've been teaching for more than 6 years now. I've taught thousands of students all over India preparing for GATE and engineering services. And as you can see that my entire work experience and my post graduation was based on design. So that's why I teach subjects related to design, strength of material, engineering mechanics, machine design, theory of machines, because I can relate these subjects with their practical applications. Okay, I have worked on design, I have worked in the field of design, so I can relate these subjects of design with their real life applications. So that's why I prefer to teach subjects of design, my friend. Okay, now my friend, we have been posting live online lectures on our YouTube channel, and we are making a lot of efforts making these videos completely free of cost. These videos are completely free of cost. You don't have to give any money to us. You can watch these live online lectures completely free of cost. But my friend, we need your support in order to make these videos. And how you can support us? The first thing you can do is hit the like button, my friend. It works as an online attendance. So hit the like button if you're present in my class, and don't forget to share the link of these videos with all your friends present on Facebook, present on WhatsApp, present on Telegram. Wherever you are present, my friend, please copy the link of this video and post it on your Facebook, post it in your WhatsApp groups, post it in your Telegram groups. In that way, my friend, you can support us to reach as many students as possible. See, these videos are completely free of cost. So those students who cannot afford paid classes, they can watch these videos and they can prepare for GATE and engineering services. So please help us to reach to those students by sharing these videos, my friend. Okay. Now, my friends, I'm not saying that you cannot prepare for GATE and ES just by watching YouTube videos. It is possible, although it will take a lot of hard work, but it is possible. But my friend, if you want to learn more from me, if you want to learn more from top educators of India, leading educators of India, then you can come on the #1 online learning platform of India, Unacademy Plus, where the leading educators of India are taking live online lectures. And there is a huge difference between YouTube and Unacademy Plus. YouTube is a one-way channel. I've always been saying this. YouTube is a one-way channel where you are not able to communicate with your teacher. But Unacademy Plus, my friend, is a two-way channel where you can very easily communicate with your lecturer, with your teacher, and you can ask all your doubts. So you will feel like you are sitting in a classroom. If you are learning on Unacademy Plus, you'll feel like you're sitting in a classroom and you are directly taking live lectures, my friend. Okay. So come on Unacademy Plus. A lot of students have already joined. Okay. Due to this lockdown, nobody is able to go to the classroom. So a lot of students have already joined Unacademy Plus. So if you don't want to lose in this race, go and subscribe to Unacademy Plus. And don't forget to use this code in order to get 10% discount. If you use this code, you'll get 10% discount. This is my coupon code. This is my referral code approved 10. If you use this code to subscribe, you'll get 10% discount. Prefer 1 year and 2 year subscriptions because they will cost less compared to 1 month and 3 month subscriptions. Okay, so prefer 1 year or 2 year subscription. We have recently launched a new batch by Mr. Negi sir, AIR1, and Prakhar sir, AIR3. So we have recently joined a new batch. So if you join now, you can join that batch and you can start your preparation, my friend. And if you have any doubts related to the subscription of Unacademy Plus, if you have any doubts related to the channel, if you have any doubts related to the payment mode, then you can send me an email. You can ask any doubts you want, and together we will clear all your doubts. You can connect with me on Facebook and Instagram as well. Okay, I am present on Facebook and Instagram, so you can ask for me. You can search my name Aprup Rao on Facebook and Instagram, and there you can ask all your doubts related to Unacademy Plus, my friend. Okay, now this was all. Let's start with our lecture. Let's start with our online lecture. But before that, I want you to mark your attendance. If you have still not marked the attendance, or if you have recently joined, please go and hit the like button. This works as an online attendance, my friend. Okay, so please don't be absent in my class. Go and hit the like button to mark your attendance. All right, my friend. So let's start with the first lecture of machine design. Now, first of all, we need to understand the subject. So basically it is called design of machine elements. Now, what are machine elements, my friend? See, a machinery is made of a lot of elements combined together, connected together. Okay, so basic machine elements. We need to design basic machine elements in this subject. What are basic machine elements? Shafts, gears, brakes, clutches, bearings. These are some basic machine elements. Every machinery is made of all these machine elements connected together. Okay, so in this subject we are going to design these machine elements. Now, what do we mean by design? What is the meaning of design? Let's understand that. Now, I am not going to give a bookish definition because even I don't understand the bookish definition of design. So I will give you a very simplified version of my definition of design, my friend. Okay, and you'll be able to relate this. You'll be able to relate it with the practical example. Okay, so let's understand what do we mean by design. Okay, if we need to design a machine element, then what we exactly need to do. So let's say we have to design a circular shaft. Okay, this is our objective. Design a circular shaft. Okay, now first of all, tell me, what are the things in order to manufacture the shaft? What are the things required in order to manufacture the shaft? What information do you need in order to manufacture the shaft? You need the information about material. Okay, what material you are going to use. You need the information about length, how much length will be there, and you need the information about diameter. What should be the diameter? These are the three things. These are the three information that you need in order to manufacture this shaft, a circular shaft, right? Now, out of these three, some parameters are already fixed. Okay, let's say I am telling you that it should be made of mild steel. Okay, so let's say the material is fixed. Let's say the length is fixed. The length of the shaft should be 1 meter, but the value of diameter is unknown. So if I say design a circular shaft, then what you are going to do, my friend? You are going to find a safe value of the diameter of the shaft. So finding the diameter of the shaft will be the design of shaft. Okay, so what is a simplified definition of design? Design of machine element means finding a safe value of the design parameters of that machine element. Every machine element has a set of design parameters. Like here, design parameter is diameter. So just like that, every machine element has different design parameters. For example, gears. In case of gears, what are the design parameter? Diameter of gear, number of teeth of gear, pressure angle of gear. These are the design parameters related to gear. So just like that, every machine element has some set of design parameters, and finding the values of these design parameters is known as the design of that machine element. If I ask you to design a gear, what you will calculate? You will calculate the diameter of gear, you will calculate the number of teeth of gear. So these are the design parameters related to gear. Okay, so finding the values of those design parameters is the design of that machine element. So do you understand? A very simple, a very basic definition of design of machine element. All right, my friend. Now, my friend, the first lecture, the first class, the first subject, the first topic of today's lecture, the first topic of machine design is the design against static loading. This is our first chapter, design against static loading, and in this chapter we are going to study the most important topic of machine design, that is theories of failure. So theories of failure come under design against static loading. Okay, so let's first understand what do we mean by design against static loading. So from machine design point of view, we can divide load into two categories. Okay, from the point of view of design, we can divide the load into two categories: static load and fluctuating load. Okay, any machine element can be subjected to static load or fluctuating load. What is static load, my friend? Static loads are the loads which are constant with respect to time. These loads are constant with respect to time. For example, my friend, let's say a machine element is subjected to a load and the stress is sigma. Okay, the stress on machine element is sigma, and I am plotting a graph between the stress and the time. Okay, with respect to time, how the stress is changing. So here the stress will always be constant, my friend. Here the stress will always be constant. Let's say the stress acting on that element is 100 megapascal. So it is always 100 megapascal, constant loading. Okay. For example, if you are sitting on a chair, then the load acting on the chair is static loading. Why? Because your load is not going to change, my friend, right? If you are sitting for 1 hour, for that 1 hour, the load is not going to change with respect to time, right? So that load, your load acting on the chair is a static load. Whatever stresses will be developed in chair, they will be static. They will be constant with respect to time. Okay. Now the second type of load is fluctuating load, which are not constant with respect to time. Their values change with respect to time. Okay. They fluctuate with respect to time. Fluctuating means they are changing again and again. So if you plot a graph between sigma and time, in this case, what you are going to do, my friend, what you are going to get? You are getting a graph like this. See, here the stresses are fluctuating between a minimum value and a maximum value, continuously fluctuating. So this is known as a fluctuating load. Now in both cases, my friend, the design of machine element is completely different. What equations we get in this case and this case are completely different. So that's why we are going to divide this chapter, design against loading, in two different categories. This will be our first chapter, design against static loading, and this will be our second chapter, design against fluctuating loading. In both cases, the design process is completely different, my friend. Okay, so we will start with design against static loading. In this chapter, we are only going to deal with static loads. We are only going to deal with machine elements subjected to static load. And then the second chapter will be about the fluctuating load, my friend. Okay, so do you understand what is static loading and what is fluctuating loading? Very good, my friend. Now, my friend, let's talk about the design process. How are we going to design? So let's say a body is subjected to static loading. Now in order to design that machine element, what do we need to do? Let's say you want to design a shaft. Okay, let's say you want to design a shaft. Let's say you want to calculate the diameter of the shaft. So if you want to find a safe value of the diameter, then you first need to understand how this shaft is going to fail. Okay, first you need to understand about failure. Okay, and then you will find the diameter to save this shaft from failure. Okay, ultimately you have to find a diameter so that the shaft will not fail, right? So that the shaft will function properly without any failure. So first you need to understand how a shaft fails. First you need to understand how a machine element fails under static loading, and then you will save that machine element from the failure, my friend. Okay, first you need to understand how this shaft can fail, and then you will save this shaft from the failure. Okay, so how a body fails under static loading? So under static loading, a machine element fails in two ways. Okay, under static loading there are two types of failure. See my friend, failure is different in case of static loading and in case of fluctuating loading. Okay, so here we are talking about static loading. So under static loading there are two types of failure of the material. The first failure is known as yielding. Okay, the first failure is known as yielding. Now I have already covered this in strength of material. What is yielding, my friend? Yielding means plastic deformation. Okay, plastic deformation means permanent deformation. If the material deforms, it has deformed permanently. If you remove the load, it will not come back to original position. Okay, elastic deformation means temporary. If you remove the load, the material will regain its shape and size. But plastic deformations are permanent. If you remove the load, it will not come back to original position. It will stay there permanently. Okay, so plastic deformation or yielding, this is one type of failure. Okay, let's say you have a machine element and let's say it is plastically deformed, means the dimensions of the body are severely deformed. So now it will not be able to function properly. Okay, if a machine element yields, if the material yields, then the dimensions are completely changed and the machine element will not be able to function properly. So this is considered as a failure. Okay, this is considered as a failure, and this failure occurs in case of ductile materials. Okay, this failure occurs in case of ductile materials. So ductile materials fail by yielding. Here we are seeing how a material can fail. So ductile materials fail by yielding. Yielding means plastic deformation. And why the material fails in plastic deformation? Because the dimensions completely change. Okay, dimensions completely change and it will not be able to function properly. So that's why we assume that it has failed. The second type of failure is known as fracture. Okay, or breaking. Fracture or breaking. So let's say the component is broken into two pieces. So obviously it will not be able to function. So that's why it will be considered as a failure. Okay, failure means it will not be able to function. Okay, whatever function it has to do, it will not be able to do that. Whatever work it has to do, it will not be able to do that. So failure means not able to do the work that it is required to do. So if the material yields, it will not be able to do the work properly. If the material fractures, it will not be able to do the required work properly. Okay, now in case of ductile material, yielding is considered as failure, but yielding does not happen in case of brittle material. So for brittle material, what is the failure, my friend? Fracture is the failure in case of brittle materials. Okay, so in case of ductile material, how the material fails? By yielding. In case of brittle materials, how the material fails? By fracture, my friend. Okay, so these are the two modes of failure. These are the two different modes of failure. Now, my friend, we need to understand at what value of stress you will get the yielding and at what values of stress you will get the fracture. Okay, so you need to find the strength of material, and in order to find the strength of material, strength means the value of stress at which yielding will occur and at which fracture will occur. So to find the strength of material, what do we do? To find the strength of material, we use this simple tension test. Okay, let's say you want to find the tensile strength. So what do? We use simple tension test. So this is a specimen. Okay, this is a specimen. Okay, let's say you want to find the strength of mild steel. So this is a mild steel specimen, mild steel specimen. What do? We apply axial load on this specimen. This is known as axial load, uniaxial load. We apply uniaxial load and then we draw stress strain curve. We have covered all this in strength of material, but in order to understand machine design, you have to revise these concepts. Okay, so what we do, we apply a uniaxial load on the specimen and then we draw a stress strain curve. Okay, sorry, then we draw a stress strain curve like this. Let's say this is the stress strain curve of mild steel. Okay, for example, I'm just taking an example. Okay, now this is the point where the material starts yielding. So the stress at this point is known as SYT. What is SYT? S stands for strength, Y stands for yielding, and T stands for tension. So SYT means strength in tension. It is the stress at which the material will yield. So if you don't want yielding, the stress should be less than SYT. Okay, this is the limit of the material. Okay, this is the maximum limit of the material. If you don't want the material to fail, then the stress should be less than SYT. Now if the fracture is criteria, if you don't want the material to fracture, then the maximum stress should be less than SUT. This is what SUT, ultimate strength. Okay, ultimate strength. After this stress the material fractures, after this stress material yields, and after this stress material fractures. So you need these two values. You should know what is the maximum value of stress, how much stress you can apply. You should know the maximum value, so that in order to keep the material safe, you will keep the stresses below these values. Okay, so these two values are calculated from simple tension test or simple compression test. This is simple tension test. If you apply compressive load, it will become simple compression test, and the strength will be strength in compression, SYC, SUC. Do you understand this much? Okay, now my friend, let's say you need to design a bar, a circular bar. Okay, let's say you need to design a circular bar. Let's say you need to design a circular bar. Okay, subjected to some load. Let's say the load is 10 kilonewton. Okay, let's say the load is 10 kilonewton. You need to design this circular bar. Designing the circular bar means you need to find the diameter of the bar. Okay, you need to find the diameter of the bar. The load is given 10 kilonewton, and let's say this is ductile material. So the yield strength is given 300 megapascal. Okay, let's say yield strength is given 300 megapascal. Now if you want to design this, if you want to keep this safe, so what do you have to do? In order to design this, you have to save it from failure, right? In order to design this bar, you have to save this bar from failure, and it is a ductile material. So how this is going to fail? My friend? It is a ductile material, so it will fail in yielding. So we need to save this from yielding. Okay, and to save this from yielding, what will be your criteria, my friend? Whatever stress is developed in this bar, it should be less than SYT, right? At this stress, it is going to yield. So if you want to save it from yielding, stress should be less than this value. Now my friend, under this load, there will be only one stress, axial stress, sigma. It should be less than SYT. If the sigma is less than SYT, it will never fail. It will never fail from yielding, right? SYT is the stress at which this bar is going to yield. So if your sigma is less than SYT, it will never yield, right? So your design will be safe. Now my friend, if I only say sigma should be less than SYT, will you be able to design it? No. How much less? Let's say SYT is 300 megapascal, then 299.99 is also less than 300. But will you keep the stress 299.99? No, my friend, you cannot take that chance, because if the load is even increased slightly, your stress will cross 300 megapascal and it will fail. So what you have to do, my friend? You have to keep sigma less than SYT. But how much less? That you have to decide. So what we do, we divide SYT by some factor of safety. What is factor of safety, my friend? Let's say your SYT is 300 megapascal and factor of safety is 2. Then your sigma will become 300 by 2, means 150 megapascal. So you will only apply, you will only allow 150 megapascal, okay? So even if the load is increased and your stress is increased, it will never cross 300. If you keep it 299.99, then if you increase the load slightly, it will cross 300 and it will fail. So if you are using factor of safety, then your stresses will be less than 300, and even if it is increased, it will never reach 300. Okay. For example, practical example, let's say you want to go to a movie theater. Okay, let's say you want to go watch a movie and you want to go to a movie theater. Now my friend, let's say from your home to movie theater, it is half an hour journey, 30 minutes journey. Okay, movie is at 3 o'clock. So will you leave at 2:30? Will you leave at 2:30? No, my friend. Why? Because you don't know what will be the traffic, right? You don't know what will be the traffic. You don't have any idea of traffic. So what you will do, my friend? You will leave at 2 o'clock or 2:15. Okay, let's say you are leaving at 2 o'clock. So your journey is 30 minutes, but you are leaving 1 hour before. Okay, so even if let's say there is a lot of traffic and it will take 45 minutes, you will reach at 2:45 before 3 o'clock. So now you are not failed. You are not failed. You have reached on time. Okay, so that's why you need some factor of safety, because you don't know about the actual condition, right? Here we are assuming some condition, but the actual conditions will be different. Okay, here we are assuming some conditions, but the actual condition might be different. So that's why we don't know what will be the actual stress. So that's why this stress should be less than 300, so that even if the stress is increased, it will never reach 300. That's why we use factor of safety. So do you understand what is factor of safety? All right, my friend. Now this relation is a very important relation. It is known as stress strength relation. Okay, this is a relation between stress and strength. This is what? Stress acting on the body. This is what? Strength of the material. Strength of the material decides your limit. Okay, strength of the material decides your limit. You cannot go beyond this. Okay, and this is the stress. So you need this relation between stress and the strength in order to find the dimension. Okay, whenever you need to find the dimension of the body, you need a relation between the stress and the strength of material. How we are going to use this? What will be the stress, my friend? What will be the stress? Tell me what will be the stress. Force upon area. It is axial load. Axial stress will be force upon area, means 10 kilonewton divided by pi by 4 d square. This will be the stress, equal to, what is the SYT, my friend? 300. And what is the factor of safety? Let's say it is 2. So from here you will find some value of diameter. So now you have designed this bar, my friend. Okay, from here you will get some safe value of diameter. So now you have designed this bar, you have found out the diameter of the bar. Do you understand this concept, my friend? Do you understand this procedure? I am using a very simple example in order to explain the process of design. Okay, in order to explain the process of design, because if you want to understand theory of failure, you need to first understand this. Okay, so what is happening? We have a circular bar subjected to axial load. SYT is given, factor of safety is given, and you need to calculate the diameter. So first of all, what do you need? You need a relation between stress and strength. And here, what is that relation? See, you want to keep this from failure. You want to save this from failure, and failure of ductile material will occur by yielding. So you want to save this from yielding. And in order to save this from yielding, what is your equation? sigma, whatever stress is developed, it should be less than SYT. How much less will depend upon factor of safety. How much sigma should be less than SYT? It depends on factor of safety. So you can write sigma equals to SYT by FOS. Now my friend, this is a relation between stresses and strength. So from this relation you can find the dimension of the body. If you have understood, hit the like button. अगर समझ में आ रहा है, सारी चीजें क्लियर हो रही हैं, तो ठोको लाइक्स अभी के अभी. ये जो प्रोसीजर मैंने बताया है एक सिंपल प्रोसीजर है डिजाइन का. ये इसलिए जरूरी है क्योंकि आपको थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर अगर समझना है तो पहले ये समझना पड़ेगा. इफ यू वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर, you first understand this process. Do you understand it? Very good. If you have understood it, very good, my friend. Now my friend, let's say this is the same problem. This time I am applying an axial load and I am also applying a torque. Let's say 5 kilonewton meter. Okay, I am applying a axial load, I am also applying a torque. Okay, now my friend, what will happen? What will happen? There will be two stresses. One will be sigma P by A. Okay, sigma will be P by A, and one will be tau TR by J. There will be an axial stress. There will be a torsional stress. Okay. So now my friend, you have two different stresses. Okay, you have two different stresses. What will be the value of sigma, my friend? 4p by pi d square, right? P upon pi by 4 d square. So you can write 4p by pi by d square. And what will be the value of tau, my friend? For circular shaft, 16t by pi d cube. Okay. So you have the equation of sigma and you have the equation of tau. What will be the relation between stress and strength, my friend, in this case? In the last case, you only had one stress, sigma. So there was a direct relation, sigma should be less than SYT, right? But in this case, you have a sigma and you also have a tau. This is a biaxial loading. This is a biaxial loading. Okay, there are stresses in different direction. This stress is in different direction. This stress is in different direction. Okay, so there are stresses in different direction. This is a biaxial loading. So now in this case, what will be the relation between sigma tau and SYT? This is the problem, my friend, in case of biaxial and triaxial loading. In case of uniaxial loading, if you only have one sigma, the relation is very simple. Sigma should be less than SYT. But if you have a sigma as well as a tau, then what will be the relation? Then what will be the relation? That is our problem. We don't have any relation between the stresses and strength. I told you we should have a relation between stress and strength. Then only we will be able to find the diameter. Okay, in the last problem we had a relation between stress and strength, so we calculated the diameter. But in this problem, what is the relation? Do you have any relation? Do you have a relation between this sigma and tau and SYT? No, my friend, right now we don't have any relation. This relation is not possible because it will not fail only due to sigma, it will also fail due to tau. So this relation is not correct. So there should be some relation. There should be some relation between this sigma tau and SYT. To save this bar from yielding, what is the relation between sigma tau and SYT? Without that relation, you cannot find the diameter. So do you understand the problem? Do you understand the problem, my friend? In case of biaxial or triaxial loading, we don't have a direct relation between stress and strength. In case of biaxial, uniaxial load means stress only in one direction. This is uniaxial load, only sigma x. This is uniaxial. Biaxial means stresses in different direction, my friend, more than one direction, x and y. So this is sigma x, this is sigma y, this is tau xy. So this is what, my friend? This is biaxial stress. Let's say this is sigma x and this is tau xy. So this is biaxial stress. There is stress in x direction, there is stress in y direction, my friend. Okay, so this is a biaxial stress. Okay, This is the direction, x direction, y direction. So there is stress in x, there is stress in y. So this is a biaxial stress. So in uniaxial stress, it is very easy to find the relation between stress and strength. What is the relation? Sigma x should be less than SYT, or sigma x should be equal to SYT by FOS. Very easy, very easy. This is the relation. Whenever there is uniaxial stress, you can use this relation. Very easy relation. But here you have three stresses. You have sigma x, you have sigma y, you have tau xy. What is the relation? Do you have any relation between these three stresses and SYT? We have three stresses and we need to find their relation with SYT. Do we have any relation? No. Why do we need that relation? Why do we need that relation? Because without that relation, we cannot find the diameter. Okay, I told you, we need a relation between stress and strength. Then only we will be able to find the diameter. So without that relation, we cannot find the diameter, and right now we don't have that relation. So this is the problem. Do you understand the problem? Now let's discuss the solution to this problem. So the solution to this problem is theories of failure, my friend. So what is theory of failure? Theory of failure is our solution in this case. What is this case? We have biaxial stress and we need to find relation between stress and strength. SYT is strength. These are the stresses. So we need to find a relation between these stresses and SYT, and this relation will be derived using theories of failure. So do you understand the definition of theory of failure? I will not give you a bookish definition, okay? I will explain that thing so that you will be able to understand it, you will be able to relate it. So in case of uniaxial stress, there is a very direct relation. But in case of biaxial stress or triaxial stress, let's say there is stress in z direction also, so it will become triaxial stress. So in case of biaxial and triaxial stress, we don't have a direct relation between stresses and strength. So in that case, what do we do? To find that relation, we use theories of failure, my friend. So now I will give you a very simplified definition of theories of failure, and I want you to write it down. I want you to write it down. Okay, I will dictate it. I want you to write it down, my friend. So note this down. Note this down. Okay. Keep your notebook in your hands. I have been telling this in all my lectures of strength of material. I told you, keep your notebook and your calculator. Okay, keep your notebook and your calculator. We will solve all the problems and we will note all the definitions, all the equations. Okay, so please note this down, my friend. What is theory of failure? Note this down. Failure theories. Theories of failure are failure theories to predict the failure of a machine element, to predict the failure of a machine element subjected to biaxial or triaxial stress, subjected to biaxial or triaxial stress, to find a relation between stresses and strength of material, between stresses and strength of material. So understand this, failure theories are theories of failure are failure theories to predict the failure of machine element, how the machine element will fail. Okay, we are predicting that subjected to biaxial or triaxial stresses. Okay, which machine element? A machine element subjected to biaxial or triaxial stress. In uniaxial stress, we don't need this theory. In uniaxial stress, we have a direct relation, sigma equals to SYT by FOS. But in biaxial or triaxial stress, if you have more than one stress, then in that case, you use this theory, it will predict the failure in order to relate stresses and strength. Why do we need this? in order to find the relation between stresses and strength of material. Okay, so it is failure theory to predict the failure of a machine element subjected to biaxial or triaxial stress to find a relation between stresses and strength of material, my friend. Okay, so what do we do? In every theory of failure, we make an assumption, we predict it. Okay, we predict it. So this is just a prediction. Okay, it is not 100% true, it is just a prediction, just like astrology. We are just giving a prediction. Okay, so it is not 100% accurate, it is just a prediction, my friend. जैसे ज्योतिषी पता लगाते हैं सब तारे वगैरह देख के आपका फ्यूचर क्या हो सकता है, प्रिडिक्शन है. So this is also a prediction based on some judgment. This is also a prediction, it is not 100% true. So we are predicting how a machine element will fail, and why we are predicting? So that we can find a relation between stresses and strength of material. Why do we need this relation? I told you using a very simple example. Why do we need this relation? Why do we need this relation? Because without this relation we cannot find the dimension. Okay, what is our final objective? Final objective क्या है? अल्टीमेटली क्या करना है? अल्टीमेटली क्या करना है? ये मत बोलना कि गेट में रैंक लेके आना है, वो तो आपका अल्टीमेट ऑब्जेक्टिव है. बट व्हाट इज अल्टीमेट ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ डिजाइन? To find the dimensions, right? To find the dimension. If I am designing this, I need to find the dimension. So in order to find dimension, we need relation between stress and strength of material. And in order to find this relation, we use theories of failure. In which case, biaxial stress or triaxial stress. In uniaxial stress, we don't need it. But in biaxial or triaxial stress, we need theories of failure. Do you understand it? Very good. If you are easily understanding what I am teaching, show me by hitting the like button. If you show me by hitting the like button, I will understand automatically that you are understanding everything very easily, my friend. So show me your appreciation. Show me your appreciation by hitting the like button, my friend. Please hit the like button right now. All right, my friend. All right. And don't forget to share this video also. Okay. I want more and more students to join online. Okay, I want more and more students to join online. I will solve all your queries, all your doubts in the live chat. Okay, whatever you are writing in the live chat, I will answer all your doubts, all your queries in the live chat. So I want as many students as possible online, my friend. Okay, all right. Now, my friend, we have different types of theories of failure. There are different numerous theories of failure. Okay, a lot of people have given different theories of failure, but in our syllabus we need to understand 5 theories of failure. We need to understand 5 theories of failure. Okay, so what are those 5 theories of failure? The first one is known as maximum normal stress theory. Okay, the first one is known as maximum normal stress theory. The second one is known as maximum shear stress theory. Maximum shear stress theory. The third one is known as maximum strain energy theory. Maximum strain energy theory. Fourth one is known as maximum distortion energy theory. Distortion energy theory. And the last one is known as maximum normal strain theory. Maximum normal strain theory. So we have these 5 theories of failure. In every theory there is a different prediction. For example, in the first theory, maximum normal stress theory, we assume or we predict that the material is going to fail due to sigma maximum. Okay, maximum normal stress means sigma maximum. The material is going to fail due to sigma maximum. In the second theory, we are assuming or we are predicting that the material will fail due to tau maximum. Maximum shear stress means tau maximum. So in this theory our prediction is different. In this theory our prediction is different. And in each theory in each theory you will get a different relation between the stress and the strength. What do we need from these theories of failure? What do we need? Why we are doing this? Why we are doing all this? To find a relation between stress and strength. Remember, I gave you a very simple example just to explain why do we, what do we need from these theories of failure. Okay, what is the need from these theories of failure? So what do we require from these theories of failure? We require a relation between stresses. How many stresses do we have in biaxial stress? How many stresses? Sigma x, sigma y and tau xy, right? So these three stress components, sigma x, sigma y, tau xy, we need a relation between these three stresses and the strength. What is the strength? SYT. Okay, so that is the strength. So we need a relation between these stresses and the strength, and in order to find that relation we have these 5 theories of failure. So from every theory we will get a different relation. Okay, from every theory we will get a different relation. So do you understand that? Now one by one, what do we do? One by one we will see all these theory and we will see what is the relation derived from each theory. What is the relation between stresses and strength derived from every theory of failure? Do you understand this? All right, my friend. So let's begin our journey of theory of failure. Theory of failure, my friend, is a very important topic in design. It is a very important topic in design because it will be used in different topics. It will be used in different chapters. Okay, in upcoming chapters also you will use these theories. Okay, so it is a very important concept from the theory point of view and from numerical point of view also. You will see a lot of numericals based on theories of failure. Very interesting numericals based on theories of failure. So one by one we will see all the 5 theories of failure in a great detail, in a very detailed manner, my friend. Okay, so let's start with our first theory of failure. So the first theory of failure is maximum normal stress theory. Maximum normal stress theory, and this theory was given by Rankine, so it is also known as Rankine's theory. Now my friend, I want you to remember this. I want you to remember this Rankine's theory, this name. Okay, this name should also be memorized. Okay, so write it down. Maximum normal stress theory was given by Rankine. Okay, there will be question based on this also, and if you don't remember this, you will not be able to solve some numericals also. Let's say I am giving you a numerical and I am asking you solve this numerical using Rankine's theory. Now if you don't even know what is Rankine's theory, how will you solve that numerical? So that's why you need to understand, you need to memorize. Maximum normal stress theory is known as Rankine's theory. Okay, now my friend, what is this theory of failure? In this theory of failure, we assume that the machine element fails due to maximum normal stress. Okay, let's say a machine element is subjected to triaxial stress. Okay, machine element is subjected to triaxial stress. Triaxial stress. Okay, so there are 3 principal stresses. Okay, there are 3 principal stresses. We have covered all these principal stresses and all, how to calculate principal stresses in strength of material. Okay, so if you have not seen my videos of strength of material, please go and watch at least this principal stresses, how to calculate principal stresses, because it will be required in theories of failure. This topic is very important. Okay, so don't worry if you have not seen that video, don't worry. After this lecture ends, because today we are not going to solve problem. Okay, we will solve problem tomorrow. So after this lecture ends, please go and watch my video on principal stresses. Okay, you should know at least what are principal stresses and how do we calculate them. Okay, because that knowledge is very required. It is mandatory in theories of failure. Okay, so let's say this is our machine element. Okay, let's say this is our machine element, and these are the stresses. These are what? Stresses. Now we need a relation between stresses and the strength. And how do we calculate strength? using the specimen. We need to find the strength. So what do? We make the specimen and then we perform simple tension test. Okay, so this is the specimen. Okay, now when the specimen fails, what are the stresses? Let's say this is a ductile material. Okay, let's say this is a ductile material. So at the time of failure, what will be the stress in ductile material? At the time of failure, the stress will be SYT. Okay, when it will fail in yielding, the stress will be SYT. Now what is our need from this theory, my friend? To relate these stresses and this strength. And what we are using? Maximum normal stress theory. So according to this theory, failure will occur. Failure will take place if sigma maximum of specimen becomes equal to sigma maximum of machine element. Sigma maximum of machine element becomes equal to sigma maximum of specimen. Okay, so according to this theory, what we are assuming? According to this theory, the failure will occur if sigma maximum of machine element, maximum normal stress means sigma maximum of machine element becomes equal to sigma maximum of specimen. Okay, what is the sigma maximum of machine element? Machine element is subjected to triaxial stress and there are three principal stresses: sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3. So what will be sigma max? We have covered this. What will be sigma max? It will be maximum of sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3, and this, if it becomes equal to sigma maximum of specimen SYT, then the material will fail, then this machine element will fail. Now my friend, do you want failure? No, you want to keep this machine element from failure. You want to save this from failure. Okay, so to avoid failure or for safe design, what will be your criteria? For safe design, this value sigma maximum of machine element should be less than this value, right? It should be less than this value, otherwise it will fail. So it should be less than this value, or you can write maximum of sigma 1, 2 and 3. Maximum of sigma 1, 2 and 3 should be equal to SYT by FOS. How much less? If I only write less, then you will not be able to understand. So what should I write? Equal to SYT by FOS. We will divide it by factor of safety. Okay, so how much less? This should be less than this, but how much less? That will be decided by FOS. Okay, so this is the relation between the stresses and the strength of material. So by using this, you can calculate the dimension of the body. Do you understand this? Do you understand this first theory of failure, my friend? If you understand it, hit the like button right now. That is like an online attendance, and it is also a tool to show your appreciation that you are liking my video. So please hit the like button right now, my friend. So this is the first theory of failure. So do you understand what is the theory of failure? According to this theory, the machine element will fail if sigma maximum of machine element will become equal to sigma maximum of specimen. Okay, these are the stresses and this is the strength. We need relation between this and this. So what is our prediction? That machine element will fail if these stresses become equal to this strength. If the sigma maximum become equal to strength of material, sigma maximum of specimen. Okay, so what is the criteria to keep this from failure? What is the criteria for your safe design? Sigma maximum of machine element should be less than sigma maximum of specimen. Put the values and now you have a relation between stresses and the strength of material, my friend. Do you understand it? Do you understand it? Very good if you understand it. I will give you an example. I will give you an example. Okay. Let's say you have a circular shaft. Let's say you have a circular shaft subjected to bending moment M and twisting moment T. Okay, let's say you have a circular shaft subjected to bending moment M and twisting moment T. Now my friend, what is your criteria? Sigma maximum should be less than SYT, right? What is sigma maximum in this case? We have derived the equation. My friend. What is sigma maximum in this case? It is this 16 by pi d cube. We have derived this equation, combined loading. Look at the chapter of combined loading. We have derived the equation 16 by pi d cube root over m square plus t square. If there is m as well as t, bending and twisting, then this is the equation of sigma maximum. Now according to this theory, sigma maximum should be equal to SYT by FOS, right? So this equation will become 16 by pi d cube m plus root over m square plus t square equals to SYT by FOS. So this will become your design equation. If I give you bending moment and twisting moment, if I give you the strength and if I give you factor of safety, if I give you load, strength and factor of safety, then you can design this shaft. Designing the shaft mean you can find the diameter of the shaft. Okay, diameter of the shaft will not be given. Okay, I will give you the load, I will give you the stress, I will give you the factor of safety. So from using this design equation, this equation is from maximum normal stress theory. Sigma maximum should be less than SYT. Okay, so from that relation you can find the diameter. Do you understand it? This is a practical example. Okay, we can design the shaft using this equation. Okay, so this is how we can design a body subjected to biaxial or triaxial stress using theory of failure. Do you understand it? This is just the starting. This is the first theory of failure. Okay, now my friend, we have to understand a graphical approach of this theory of failure. Okay, what is graphical approach, my friend? The graphical approach of theory of failure is known as safe region. Okay, let's first understand what is safe region. Okay, let's say a body is subjected to biaxial stress. Okay, so in case of biaxial stress, sigma 3, third principal stress will be 0. There will be only two principal stresses, sigma 1 and sigma 2. Okay, there will be only two principal stresses, sigma 1 and sigma 2. And your equation of theory of failure will be in terms of sigma 1 and sigma 2. Okay, let's say the equation of theory of failure is an ellipse. Okay, for example, let's say the equation of theory of failure is an ellipse, and if you draw that ellipse on this graph, let's say you are getting this. Okay, this is what? This is the equation of theory of failure. From every theory of failure you get some equation. Okay, so let's say you are getting the equation of ellipse, and if you draw that ellipse on this graph, sigma 1 sigma 2 graph, let's say you are getting this ellipse is the safe region. This ellipse is the safe region. This is your safe region. What is safe region? If, let's say, your values of principal stresses, whatever value of principal stresses you are getting, if your values are inside this safe region, means you are safe. And if your values are outside this safe region, means your design is fail. So this is a graphical representation of theory of failure. Safe region is a graphical representation. We are representing theory of failure on a graph. Okay. So this is the safe region of theory of failure. Inside the safe region, if the stresses are inside this, means it is safe. If the stresses are outside this, means it is failed. Let's say the stress is on this graph. Let's say this stress is on the boundary. Okay, this is the boundary. This is the boundary. So on the boundary, factor of safety will be 1. On the boundary, factor of safety will be 1. If your stress is even slightly greater, then you will fail. Then your design will fail. So on the boundary, factor of safety is 1. Understand it. It is important. On the boundary, factor of safety is 1. Let's say you have 2 points. Okay. Let's say you have 2 points. Point number 1, point number 2. Okay. So for which point factor of safety will be more? For which point factor of safety will be more? Tell me for which point factor of safety will be more. My friend, on the boundary, factor of safety is 1. And if you move away from boundary, inside, if you move inside, away from boundary, factor of safety will increase. Look at the stresses. If the point is here, stresses are more. If the point is here, stresses are less. So if stresses are less, factor of safety is more. If stresses are more, factor of safety is less. Or you can see like this. On the boundary, factor of safety is 1. If you are moving away from boundary, factor of safety will increase. So factor of safety of the second case will be greater than factor of safety of the first case. Do you understand this point? On the boundary, factor of safety is 1. Outside the boundary, no safety, failure. Inside the boundary, if you are moving away from boundary, your factor of safety is increasing. If you are moving away from boundary, your factor of safety is increasing. On the boundary, it is 1. And if you are moving away, inside, okay, not outside. Outside means failure. Inside, if you are moving away, your factor of safety is increasing. So do you understand the concept of safe region? All right, my friend. Now we need to draw safe region of maximum normal stress theory. Okay, we need to draw safe region of maximum normal stress theory. So what is the equation of normal stress theory, my friend? What is the equation of normal stress theory? Sigma maximum should be equal to SYT by FOS. Okay, maximum of sigma 1, 2, you can write it like this. Sigma 3 is 0. Okay, sigma 3 is 0 because we are assuming it is biaxial stress. So maximum of sigma 1 and sigma 2 should be equal to SYT by FOS. Now my friend, I need to draw the boundary of safe region. Okay, here what do you need to draw? Boundary. On boundary, factor of safety is what? 1. On boundary, factor of safety is 1. Okay, do you understand why I am taking factor of safety equal to 1? Because on the boundary, factor of safety is 1 and I need to draw the boundary. Okay, so this is your equation. Maximum of sigma 1 and sigma 2 equals to SYT. Now my friend, either your sigma 1 will be maximum or your sigma 2 will be maximum, right? So let's consider the first case. Okay, let's consider the first case. Sigma 1 is greater than sigma 2. The magnitude of sigma 1 is greater than sigma 2. Then what will be your equation? Sigma 1 equal to SYT. Now my friend, understand this. If your sigma 1 is positive, then the failure will be in tension. And if your sigma 1 is negative, then the failure will be in compression. If your sigma 1 is positive, failure will be in tension. Negative means failure will be in compression. Let's assume SYC is equal to SYT. Let's assume SYC is what? Compressive strength. Strength in compression. This is strength in tension. This is strength in compression. Let's assume compressive strength is equal to tensile strength. So I can write it minus SYT. Okay, minus SYT. So your first case is sigma 1 is greater than sigma 2. but it can be positive, it can be negative. Okay, so failure can be in tension, failure can also be in compression. Compressive strength I am assuming is equal to tensile strength. Okay, so now my friend, you have these two equations. This is one equation, this is second equation. Look at this equation. What are these equations, my friend? These equations are the equations of straight line. Y equals to mx, right? Y equals to mx plus c. It is in the form of y equals to mx plus c, and my friend, sigma 1 equals to syt. It will be the equation which will be parallel to y axis. Sigma 1 equals to syt means sigma 1 will always be constant. It will be parallel to y axis. So you are getting this line. Okay, this line is sigma 1 equals to plus syt. Second line, sigma 1 equals to minus syt, means it is negative compression. Okay, it is compression. So this will be the second line. Sigma 1 equals to minus syt. Okay, so you are getting two straight lines. One is this, one is this from case 1. Now what will be the case 2? What will be the case 2? Sigma 2 is greater than sigma 1. Magnitude of sigma 2 is greater than sigma 1. But again, it can be tensile. It can also be compressive. Okay. So again, you will get two straight line. This time, the straight line will be parallel to sigma 1. Okay. So you will get one straight line like this. Sigma 2 equals to plus sy2, and one straight line like this. Sigma 2 equals to minus syt. So we have four straight line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. What will be these points? This point will be plus syt, minus syt, plus syt, minus syt. Okay. We are assuming compressive strength equals to tensile strength. Otherwise, minus syt will be minus syc. Okay. If your compressive strength is different, then it will be minus syc and it will be minus syc. Do you understand this? So this is what? This is your safe region. Inside these four straight lines, this becomes your safe region. Do you understand this? This is your safe region. If your point is inside this safe region, it is safe. Outside this safe region, it is fail. So understand this, my friends. It is a very important concept. It is a very important concept. A lot of conceptual question, theory question will be from this concept. Okay. So note this down. Note this down. Safe region of maximum normal stress theory. Note this down, my friend, and understand it. How we draw this? We have two cases. Sigma 1 is greater than sigma 2. Sigma 2 is greater than sigma 1. Now sigma 1 can be tensile or compressive. Sigma 2 can be tensile or compressive. So we are getting four different straight lines. So by drawing the four straight line, we are getting safe region of maximum normal stress theory. Do you understand this? Very good, my friend. Very good. Now, my friend, this was the first theory of failure, maximum normal stress theory or Rankine's theory. What do you need to remember? You first need to remember the name, because questions can be from this name, Rankine's theory. Okay. Second thing you need to remember is the equation. So what is the equation? Maximum of sigma 1, 2 and 3 should be equal to syt by FOS. That is the second thing you need to remember. Third thing you need to remember is the safe region. So you need to remember these three things for every theory of failure. You need to remember these three things. The name, this is important. Okay. You see the previous year questions of machine design. You will see why this is important. You will get question from this. Okay. So first thing is this name. Second thing is the equation, and third thing is safe region, this graph. Okay. So you need to understand, you need to remember these three things for every theory of failure, my friend. Do you understand it? Very good. Hit the like button right now. Hit the like button and don't forget to share. Don't forget to share these videos with all your friends. Don't forget to share these videos with all your friends, my friend. Okay. Machine design is a very important subject for GATE or for engineering services. It is a very scoring subject. Okay. So that's why please share the link of these videos. This is the first lecture. Okay. If your friends miss the first lecture, then they will not be able to cover. okay, because tomorrow the theory of failure is not an easy, it is not a small chapter, okay. So tomorrow also we will cover the same topic, okay. So in order to understand the second lecture, you need to see the first lecture. So that's why I am telling you, please share these videos with all your friends and tell them that there are free lectures, free online lectures of machine design. Please watch them, okay. So please cooperate with us, support us by sharing these videos on your Facebook, on your WhatsApp, okay. All right, my friends. So this was the first theory of failure. Let's move on to the second theory of failure, maximum shear stress theory. And this theory is also known as Tresca and Guest theory, okay. Tresca and Guest theory. So this is the second theory of failure. Now, my friend, I will not give you the definition, I will not give you the statement of theory of failure, okay. It is not possible to understand from the statement. So let me draw the diagrams. This is your machine element. What was our objective? To find a relation between stresses of machine element and strength of specimen, okay. So this is your machine element subjected to triaxial stress, sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3. This is what? Machine element. This is what? Machine element, okay. And we have the specimen. Why we have a specimen? To find the strength. We have a specimen to find the strength, okay. We have a specimen to find the strength. My friend, we are now assuming that it is a ductile material. If it is a brittle material, replace SYT with SUT, okay. If it is a brittle material, just replace SYT with SUT, doesn't matter, okay. All right, my friend. So we have machine element and we have specimen. Now, my friend, according to maximum shear stress theory, machine element will fail if tau maximum of machine element, becomes equal to tau maximum of specimen. When it will fail? According to this theory, it will fail when tau maximum of machine element will become equal to tau maximum of specimen, my friend, okay. But we don't want the failure. What do we want? We want to save this machine element. We want to save this machine element. So for safe design, we don't want failure, okay. We want to save it. We don't want it to fail. So what will be your criteria? It should be less. Tau maximum of machine element should be less than tau maximum of specimen. Now, my friend, I told you, if there is sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3, how do we find tau maximum? Remember this. I told you this. There are three principal stresses, 1, 2, 3. Let's say there are three principal stresses, okay. This is sigma, this is tau. This is what? Mohr circle. There are three principal stresses. Principal stresses means point on sigma axis. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. What do we do in order to find tau maximum? What is tau maximum? Radius of Mohr circle. Here there will be 3 Mohr circle. Between 1, 2, between 2, 3, between 1, 3. Okay. So what is tau maximum? Radius of Mohr circle, and here there is 3 circle. So which one is the maximum radius? 1, 2, 2, 3 or 3, 1? Which circle has maximum radius? This one, 1, 3. Okay. And what will be the radius? Diameter will be sigma 1 minus sigma 3. So radius will be sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2. Let's say this is 1, this is 2 and this is 3. Then in this case, which one will be the maximum circle? Which one will be the biggest circle? 1, 2, right? So in this case, tau maximum will be sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2. Sigma 1 minus sigma 2 will be the diameter. So radius will be sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2. So do you understand the concept of tau maximum? I have explained this in Mohr circle. I have explained this in principal stresses. Okay. So if you don't understand it, please go and watch my video on principal stresses after the lecture ends. Okay, don't worry, after the lecture end you can see. Okay, so what will be tau maximum, my friend? I can write it like this: maximum of sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2. I am doing this sign because I don't want to take the sign of this. Even if it is positive or negative, doesn't matter. This is absolute. This is absolute. Absolute means minus 100 or plus 100. Doesn't matter. You only have to take the magnitude 100. Okay. So this is the absolute sign. So maximum of sigma 1 minus 2 by 2, 2 minus 3 by 2, 3 minus 1 by 2. 3 circles, 3 radius. Whichever is maximum, it will be tau maximum. This will be less than, what will be tau maximum of specimen? Draw the Mohr circle of specimen. Draw the Mohr circle of specimen. What you will get? What you will get, my friend? Here, this will be the one principal stress. There is only one stress, sigma. So that will be the one principal stress. Other two principal stresses will be 0. Sigma 1 will be SYT. This will be your sigma 1. So sigma 1 will be SYT, 2 and 3 will be 0. There will be only one circle. There will be only one circle. And what will be the radius? Diameter is SYT. So radius will be SYT by 2. For the specimen, if you draw the Mohr circle, there is only one principal stress, SYT. Other two will be 0. So there will be only one circle. And what will be the radius of this circle? SYT by 2. Tau maximum is radius of Mohr circle. So it is SYT by 2. So this is the equation according to maximum shear stress theory. Now if you equate it, then it will become factor of safety. This is the relation from second theory of failure. According to maximum shear stress theory, this is the relation between stresses and the strength of material, my friend. These are stresses and this is strength. So this is the relation according to maximum shear stress theory. Do you understand it? Do you understand it, my friend? If you understand it, hit the like button right now, my friend. So this is the second relation. What was the first relation? Maximum of sigma 1, 2 and 3 should be equal to SYT by FOS. And this is the second relation. Tau maximum of machine element. Tau maximum of machine element should be less than tau maximum of specimen. So this is maximum shear stress theory. Do you understand it? So we have seen the design equation. Now, my friend, we need to draw the graph of this. We need to draw the graph of this. Okay. We need to find the safe region. So this is sigma 1, sigma 2, minus sigma 1 and minus sigma 2. Okay. So let us draw the safe region. Okay. Let me erase it. Okay. Let us draw the safe region. This is sigma 1 minus sigma 1, sigma 2 minus sigma 2. Okay. Now, my friend, our assumption when we draw the safe region for graphical representation, we assume sigma 3 is 0. We are assuming sigma 3 is 0. Okay. In every safe region, we assume sigma 3 is 0. Now, my friend, if sigma 3 is 0, what will be tau maximum? If sigma 3 is 0, what will be tau maximum, my friend? What will be your equation? What will be your equation? What is your equation? Maximum of sigma 1 minus 2 by 2. Okay. 2 minus 3 by 2. 3 is 0. So this will be 2 by 2. And 3 minus 1 by 2. 3 is 0. So this will be 1 by 2 equal to SYT by FOS. FOS is 1. Why? Because we are drawing the boundary. I told you, on the boundary, factor of safety is 1 and we are drawing the boundary. So SYT by 2. FOS is 1. Okay. So this is your relation assuming sigma 3 is 0. We need to draw this on the graph. We need to draw this on the graph. Okay. Now, my friend, there are two cases. There are two cases. Okay. Sigma 1 and sigma 2. Okay. If they both are positive or both are negative. Okay, in the first quadrant and the second quadrant. Okay, in first and third quadrant, third quadrant. In first and third quadrant, sigma 1 and sigma 2 both are either positive or both are either negative. Okay, for example, sigma 1 is 200, sigma 2 is 100. Okay, or sigma 1 is minus 300, sigma 2 is minus 100. Okay, so both are positive, both are negative. So in this case, which one will be maximum? This first one will become 200 minus 100. This will be 100 by 2. This will be 200 by 2. So in this case, this one will always be less because both these will be subtracted. Okay, this first one, sigma 1 minus sigma 2. This one will always be less. In this case also, if you put sigma 1 and sigma 2, this will always be less. So when sigma 1 and 2 both are positive or both are negative, then this one will always be minimum. Either this will be maximum or this will be maximum. So in first and third quadrant, either sigma 1 by 2 will be SYT by 2 or sigma 2 by 2 will be SYT by 2. Either this will be maximum or this will be maximum. So you will get sigma 1 equals to SYT or sigma 2 equals to SYT. This will never be maximum. If both are positive or both are negative, then this will always be less because it is sigma 1 minus sigma 2. Okay, so either you will get this or you will get this. Okay, look at this. This is just like the last theory, maximum normal stress theory. Sigma 1 equals to SYT. This will be the line. Okay, sigma 2 equals to SYT. This will be the line. Okay, in third quadrant both will be negative. Okay, in third quadrant both will be negative. So this will be the line. Sigma 1 equals to minus SYT and sigma 2 equals to minus SYT. This is in first quadrant and third quadrant. First quadrant and third quadrant. Okay, why first and third? Because in first quadrant both are positive, in third quadrant both are negative. So this will always be less. Okay, now second and fourth quadrant. Second and fourth quadrant. Okay, so what will happen in second and fourth quadrant? In second and fourth quadrant, one will be positive, other one will be negative. Let's say for example, sigma 1 is 200, sigma 2 is minus 100. So which one will be maximum? Which one will be maximum? This one will become 200 minus 100 by 2. This will be minus 100 by 2 and this will be 200 by 2. Neglect the sign, neglect the sign. So what will you get? This one will be 300 by 2, 300 by 2, 100 by 2, 200 by 2. Which one is maximum? This one, first one. It will always be first one. If one is positive, other one is negative, this one will automatically become maximum. Why? Because it will become sigma 1 plus sigma 2. Look at this, sigma 1 plus sigma 2, because minus and minus it will become plus. So in second and fourth quadrant, these two will be less. Which one will be maximum? This one will be maximum. Sigma 1 minus sigma 2. Okay, sigma 1 minus sigma 2 equal to SYT. By 2 will be cancelled, so equal to SYT. It can also be negative. Okay, now these two are also straight line, but this time you will get inclined straight line like this. This one is sigma 1 minus sigma 2 equals to plus SYT. This one is sigma 1 minus sigma 2 equals to minus SYT. Okay, so this is the safe region in second and fourth quadrant. Do you understand? In first and third quadrant, either this will be maximum or this will be maximum, but in second and fourth quadrant this will be maximum. Okay, because in second and fourth quadrant one will be positive, other one will be negative, so these two will be added. So this is your safe region in second and fourth quadrant. Now my friend, can you compare this safe region from maximum normal stress theory? From maximum normal stress theory, if you compare, in first and third quadrant, both are same, but in second and fourth quadrant, they are different. Okay, we will compare the safe region in the end. Okay, right now I will not tell you how to compare the safe region. Afterwards, I will tell you how to compare safe region. Okay, right now let's not discuss the comparison of safe region. Okay, let's not discuss comparison of safe region. You just have to remember the safe region. Okay, afterward I will tell you how to compare the safe region. Okay, so this is the safe region of maximum shear stress theory. Do you understand this? So you have to remember three things: name, equation, safe region. Name, equation, safe region, and we will also solve numericals. We will also solve numericals based on the equation. Okay, after we see every theory of failure, we will solve numericals also. So this is for today's lecture, my friend. Today we have solved two theory of failure: maximum normal stress theory, maximum shear stress theory. You have to remember the name, the equation, and the safe region. Tomorrow we will cover the rest three theories of failure. Then I will tell you how to compare their safe region. I will also tell you how to solve problems based on theory of failure. Okay, we will solve problems based on theories of failure, different types of problem, my friend. Okay, so this was all for today's lecture. Don't forget to hit the like button and share this video with all your friends, my friend. Share this video with all your friends, and my friend, don't forget to come back tomorrow exactly at 7:30. Tomorrow at 7:30 we will see the other three. We will see some amazing concept related to safe region. I will tell you amazing concepts related to safe region, and we will solve numericals also. Okay, so tomorrow we will start with this. Okay, we will continue the class. Tomorrow we will continue the class. We will complete the theories of failure. Okay, my friend, if any of you want to learn more from me, then you have to subscribe Unacademy Plus. If you want to understand the difference between YouTube classes and Unacademy Plus classes, you can watch some special classes. They are free of cost. You can watch some special classes. You will understand the difference between the two platforms. Okay, already a lot of students have joined. Recently we have launched a new batch. Okay, we have a team of different educators. Okay, we teach different subjects. So recently we have launched a new batch. Mr. Negi sir, AIR1, he has launched a different subject, and Mr. Prakhar sir, AIR3, he has launched a different subject. After their subject end, I will start the subject. Okay, so the entire team of mine, we will complete the entire syllabus of GATE and engineering services in both the languages, Hindi as well as in English. Okay, so join Unacademy Plus. Don't forget to use my code APPROVE10. This is my coupon code. If you use this code, you will get 10% discount, my friend. Okay, prefer 1 year or 2 year subscription, get 10% discount using this code. And if you have any doubt, related to the payments, okay, if you have any problem, any issue related to payment, then please email me on this email ID, approve2008@gmail.com. We will discuss all your problems related to Unacademy Plus subscription. Okay, so don't forget to send me an email, and you can also connect me on Facebook and Instagram, my friend. Already a lot of students have joined, my friend. So don't lose in this race. Okay, only a few months are remaining, and you have lost all these months due to the lockdown. So don't waste any more time. Start your preparation on Unacademy Plus. We have different educators for different subjects. Okay, more than 100 educators are there, and the most interesting thing about Unacademy Plus is you don't have to take different subscription for different lectures. Okay, you only take one subscription using this code. Only take one subscription, and you can watch lecture of any faculty. Okay, it doesn't mean that if you are using my code, you will be able to see only my lecture. You can see the lecture of any faculty. Just use this code. This is only to get 10% discount. Use this code, get the 10% discount, and start your lectures online we have just launched a new batch. Okay, so you have not wasted a lot of time. We have just launched a new batch. So join Unacademy Plus as soon as possible. Okay, join Unacademy Plus as soon as possible and start your preparation with the top educators of India, my friend. Okay, and if you have any doubt, you have my email ID. Okay, so I will see you tomorrow at 7:30. Don't forget to share this video, my friend. Okay, don't forget to share this video. I am dependent on you. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video.